When a billionaire walked into that courthouse, he expected to sign papers, shake hands, and leave. But instead, a little girl, covered in dust, holding a sleeping baby, grabbed his coat and whispered, "Mom's gone. Please save us." And what he did next shocked every single person in that building. Before we dive in, please subscribe for more stories like this. He never forgot the way her fingers trembled when she reached for him. Daniel Mercer, billionaire CEO, and the kind of man people whispered about in elevators, walked into the county courthouse thinking it would be just another routine day. A few foundation papers, a land acquisition form, maybe a quiet lunch afterward. But that day wasn't routine. That day was the one that would break open a part of his heart he didn't even know he had left. Daniel had just stepped inside when he heard soft, uneven breathing. A whimper. He turned and froze. Standing there was a girl who couldn't have been more than 10 years old, her clothes torn, cheeks streaked with dirt and tears. In her arms, she clutched a baby so tightly it was as if letting go would make him disappear. She stared up at him, eyes huge and terrified. "Sir, please," she whispered. "Mom's gone. Please save us." The courthouse hallway fell silent. Even time seemed to stop. Daniel wasn't the kind of man who got caught off guard. He'd negotiated billion-dollar deals, fought corporate sharks, survived public scandals. Nothing rattled him. But this, a child whispering for help like she'd already seen the world collapse, it shook him to his core. "Where's your mother?" Daniel asked gently, kneeling down. The girl tried to speak, but her voice cracked. She got sick last night. I couldn't wake her. They took her away. They said she won't come back." Daniel's chest tightened. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Ayanna," she said. "And this is my baby brother, Micah." Micah slept in her arms, wrapped in a threadbare blanket, tiny fists curled into his chest. Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, a protective instinct, sharp and immediate. "Where's your father?" he asked. Ayanna shook her head. "We don't have one." "Oh, and where were you going?" She hesitated, then pointed toward a small door near the end of the hall. "They said we had to talk to someone inside there about where they'll send us." Daniel knew exactly what that meant. Child services, emergency placement, foster system, separation. Ayanna's lip trembled. "I can't let them take Micah. He cries when he's not with me. And Mom told me to keep him safe no matter what." Daniel swallowed hard. This kid had been carrying the weight of the world with no one to help her. "Come with me," he said gently. "You're not going in there alone." Inside the child services office, the caseworker looked exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed. "Mr. Mercer," she sighed, seeing him. "I don't know what you're doing here, but this isn't your case." Daniel placed a hand on Ayanna's shoulder. "It is now." The caseworker shook her head. "Sir, with all due respect, children aren't business filings. Their mother died. There's no next of kin. The system takes over." Ayanna's small fingers tightened around Daniel's coat sleeve. That tiny gesture flipped something inside him. "Then I'll be their guardian," Daniel said immediately. Ayanna gasped. The caseworker blinked in disbelief. "Sir, guardianship requires background checks, home inspections, psychological evaluations. It takes months. And I'll do all of it," Daniel said, calm but firm. "But the kids aren't going into a facility tonight." The caseworker hesitated. "Mr. Mercer, the law doesn't care how much money you have." Daniel leaned forward. Then maybe it will care about how much time I'm willing to give. Ooh, his voice wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was steady, controlled. The kind of tone that said, I'm not leaving without these kids. The room went dead quiet, and after hours of calls, paperwork, and frantic staff trying to figure out how to handle one determined billionaire, the judge agreed to an emergency temporary placement. Daniel walked out of that courthouse with Ayanna holding one of his hands and Micah wrapped in the other arm. But then a strange thing happened. Ayanna stopped walking. Wait, she whispered. Why are you helping us? People usually walk past. Little Daniel crouched down, looking into her frightened eyes. Because someone should have helped me too, he said quietly. It was the first time he'd voiced the memory in years. When Daniel was 12, his own mother had died suddenly. He'd spent 2 weeks in a foster home before distant relatives stepped in. He'd never forgotten the fear, the cold nights, the way adults talked around him instead of to him. He saw that same fear in Ayanna. No kid should feel like they're alone in the world, he whispered. Ayanna's eyes filled with tears. Not the scared kind now, the relieved kind. The Daniel brought them home, not to a mansion, not to some sterile penthouse boardroom, but to the guest house beside his garden where the morning sun always warmed the windows. Ayanna stepped inside and froze. You want us to stay here. For as long as you need, Daniel said. She walked slowly, carefully, like she thought someone would yank it all away. Micah woke up and whimpered. Daniel reached out hesitantly. Can I? He asked. Ayanna studied him, then nodded and placed her baby brother into his arms. Daniel held Micah awkwardly at first, then gently, like the baby was made of glass. The little boy stopped crying instantly. Ayanna's eyes widened. Hey, he likes you. Daniel smiled softly. I like him too. As days passed, Daniel found himself rearranging meetings, rescheduling flights, and ignoring business calls, because Ayanna needed help with breakfast, or Micah needed warm milk, or because Ayanna would quietly sit next to him, clutching her knees, scared he'd disappear too. He didn't. He showed up every morning, every night, every hour she needed him. Ayanna began to laugh again, quietly at first, then in full, relieved bursts that made Daniel's chest ache with a strange, unfamiliar warmth. One night, Ayanna shyly approached him. Mr. Daniel, can I ask something? Anything? He said. Are we a burden? And Daniel set down his pen and knelt beside her. You're not a burden, he said, voice firm. You're a blessing. Ayanna blinked fast, trying not to cry. No one's ever said that to me before. Well, Daniel smiled gently. Get used to it. The weeks turned into months. Court hearings passed. Background checks cleared. Home inspections were completed. Daniel didn't just fulfill the requirements, he exceeded them. He attended every meeting, showed up early, filled out every form himself, and finally, the judge looked at him over her glasses and said, Mr. Mercer, it is clear these children are not just living with you. They are loved by you. Guardianship approved. Ayanna gasped and grabbed Daniel's hand, squeezing it so tight it hurt. Micah burbled happily in her other arm. But the moment that broke everyone in the room was when Ayanna whispered, Do we get to stay with you forever? Daniel swallowed the lump in his throat. Yeah, sweetheart, he said. Forever sounds just right. That night, Daniel tucked Ayanna into bed for the first time since the ruling. Messeter, Daniel, she asked sleepily. Yes! When Mom was sick, she kept saying someone would come for us. Someone good. I didn't believe her. Daniel brushed a curl from her forehead. She was right, he said softly. You were never meant to face this world alone. Ayanna gave a tiny, tired smile. You saved us. Daniel shook his head. No, he whispered. You saved me. Because in choosing to protect them, they'd healed something in him too. Something that money never could. He turned off the light, leaving the door slightly open, just how Ayanna liked it. And for the first time in years, the house felt like a home again.